Hey guys, welcome to the Top Percentile. My name is Anay Dave, and I scored a 99.99 percentile in CET 2020. It's been a while since we uploaded to your YouTube channel, but we are back, and it's going to be exciting going forward because we are going to start off with a couple of really good videos that you'd love to watch. But if you're new around here, welcome. The Top Percentile is the six of us who initially topped CET 2020 and then got together to make this channel and to make content on CET so that new aspirants do not find it as difficult as we did to crack CET and to get through JBIMS like we did 2 years ago. Um, and the last 2 years have been really good to us. We've been lucky to have good students and good mentoring opportunities. So we've had really good results, which you'll be seeing on the screen right now. But essentially, after the MBA, we've been working in different fields. And just to give an update, I'll just tell you where we've been working. If you've been following us on Instagram or LinkedIn, you would know where we are, what is going on in our lives. So if you are not connected to us on the social medias given, please find the links in the description. You can follow us on anything. We're pretty open to things. So please reach out and ask us in the comments if there are any questions or requests that you'd want us to make videos on. But the reason we've not made videos is the reason why I personally haven't been able to make videos is because I was in New York and Canada for investment banking training that was going on with JP Morgan. So it was a 5 week long training, and I was very lucky to have been sent there. Um, it was a beautiful experience. I mean, it's New York, right? So you get the best of all the worlds, and JP Morgan in USA has a huge presence, so it's an even better thing out there. So it was a wonderful thing, and I'm very thankful I got to do that. But back to the topic at hand. I've given the updates of what we need, but please reach out to us if you need anything. Drop comments so we know what you want. The more interaction that you have, the better it is for us, and the easier it is for us to serve our students and to make sure that you are getting what you want from us, be it on a YouTube channel or in the course that we have. And if you're interested in our course, please head on to our website, thetoppercentile.co.in. Again, the link which will be in the description below. And if you're interested, please just reach out and tell us about it. We'll be more than happy to help and guide you through this. But coming to the question at hand, how do you prepare for any exam, right? The reason I want to make this is because I feel when you start off with an exam, you really should have the entire thing very clear about why you're doing something, what your strengths are, what you should focus on, how you'd be going about it, and a very detailed plan ready. Now, each and every one of you will have a different strength, different weakness, and a different way to study and way to go about things. But at least what I can do is give you a slight framework or a few points to think about when it comes to understanding and planning your own path to success and glory in the end. This can be applicable to any kind of exam, be it CAT, CET, in the MBA universe in India, or GMAT, GRE if you're thinking of going abroad. You can apply this to anything, and I've tried to keep it as general as possible, but I will be taking examples of CAT and CET because that's what I have been able to excel in so far. I still wouldn't say excel, and I think there are many people better than us and better than me here. But for some context, I scored 19.86 in CAT 2021 and 19.99, as I mentioned earlier, in CET 2020. So when it comes to these two exams, there are mainly 5 points that I would like to highlight. And the first point would be, why are you taking the exam, right? You need to have that very clear. What is the reason you're taking it? What is your goal? Write that very clearly. My mom always used to mention that if you aren't seeing your goal every day, or if it's not a visible cue to your goal, you tend to forget it and you don't really notice, or you tend to do things that might deviate you from the path. The focus is not there, right? You always want something to converge your focus on. So if you write your goal somewhere, make sure that you see it all the time. Make sure that you're always reminded of what the goal is. And if you can do that, I think that's a first step, very easily done. You just have to keep making sure that you are working towards that goal whenever you can. But the first thing has to be why you're doing a certain thing. When it comes to an MBA, we always tend to answer why MBA. It's a very generic answer. It's a very generic question, but I would recommend and I would encourage you to have a very personal answer ready for this. And if you want a personal answer 2 years from now or a year from now, when you sit in your dream MBA college or dream college for that matter, I would want you to have that story from today, right? So from this day, you should know what your goal is, why you're going towards it, and how you are going to get there, right? The second point in the same thing would be about what your life will be like 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, or 10 years down the line. You want to think about how it's going to affect you. You want to think about how people outside would be viewing you if you succeed, how everything changes. And trust me, it makes a very big difference when I tell someone I'm from Jamnal Bajaj, or if I've topped an exam that's an all India exam, if any of this information, or even that I work for JP Morgan, if there's any information that I give out to someone, if I just tell them about it, there's a different status that is conferred upon me. The point is that you need to constantly keep reminding yourself about what your life will be like and why you are working towards a certain goal, right? The third point in this, again, I've covered in the first point here, but remind yourself all the time. You want to maybe make it your phone wallpaper, right? Make it your phone wallpaper. So every time you open your phone, you see your dream college. Maybe you're seeing your dream score or something like that. I personally have written down what I wanted to do. So after I got a 99.99, I made sure that I didn't get complacent by writing that, it's still not CAT. I've still not cracked the top 100 ranks in CAT, or something like that, just to get myself motivated that it's still not it. I still need a 99.99 in CAT or a 99.8 in CAT or something like that, right? So I'd written that down even after I'd scored in CET, just so that the motivation is there, and so that I can push myself to even to a further level by just reminding myself of the goal at all times, right? The second question that you need to think about and analyze is, what are the skills required to crack the exam? Now, this can come in various ways, right? The first step over here would be to read the structure of the exam. I'll take the example of CAT and CET. CAT is an exam that needs more in-depth knowledge, but has a lot more time per question than CET, which requires quick thinking and fast approaches, right? Plus, at the same time, as I mentioned, the time is different for every question. The number of questions is different every year. This changes, so I don't want to fix one thing, because if you're watching this 2 years from now, I don't want you to think that this exam has changed for you. But when I took CET, it was a 2.5 hour paper, so 1 hour or 150 minutes. There are 200 questions that I had to solve in those 150 minutes. And when I took CAT, I think it was a 2 hour paper with around 100 questions. So that's a completely opposite thing, where I have 120 minutes for 100 questions. So I have more time with less questions. And again, in CAT, you don't attempt everything, but in CET, you try to attempt everything, right? So this is the basic structure that you need to know. And second part of the structure would be to find out what is the exact section pattern that they have. In CET, there are 4 sections: logical, quants, verbal, and abstract reasoning. While in CAT, you'd have your DILR, which is data interpretation and logical reasoning, which is mainly your puzzles and all the sets that you do usually. Then there's a verbal ability, and then there's a quantitative aptitude, QA. So that's how it gets divided. And based on how this flows, you need to think about what the structure of the paper will be, what is required, and what skills would be needed. You need to figure out whether you need speed or you need knowledge, and how that is going to build into your strategy at that point of time. If you're studying for CAT, you need knowledge. You need a lot of knowledge as much as possible. But if you're studying for CET, you can skip out on a part of the knowledge, but make sure that you're doing it 10 times faster than the aspirant who's only studying for CAT, right? 10 times is an exaggeration, but you get the point, right? You get how your focus shifts and how you need to focus on one thing or the other, right? When it comes to the next part of this, it is about what subject is there. What is the exact thing that they're testing? If they're testing verbal ability, what is the exact scope of that, right? In CAT, you'd have a huge number of RCs, and you'd be going to the depth of each and every RC being reading comprehension. You'd be going to into the depth of each and every essay and finding out what the author's trying to say. In CET, you will have RCs, but they'll be very light, and you'll just be brushing through them very fast because the questions are such. So the idea over here is to figure out what is the exact subject that is being tested and what skill would be needed for that subject. This comes with experience, yes, but in the start, you need a brief understanding of what is there. And the last thing over here would be to do a slight strength and weakness analysis of yourself. You need to think and assess as to where you think you are. Do you think your verbal is strong? Do you think your quants is strong? Do you think your logical is strong? Where do you stand? The best way to do this is obviously to take one of the past papers, sit with it, and just see how much you can solve. And if you think you are good at something, I would say make sure that you prove yourself to be good. But if you think you're bad, assume you are bad, because I think humans are very good estimates of what they are bad at, but they tend to overly estimate what they are good at, and they don't tend to be as good as that and get overconfident at times. So I would say that when you're exploring a new field, assume that you are bad at everything and worse at something else, right? Because you need to work at everything at the same time. So assume you are bad or average, and then move it up and down based on what your experience is showing or what the mock exam will be showing you. The third main point would be, what is the exact syllabus required? And when it comes to syllabus, you need to know this very well. You need to know exactly what is being covered. And if I throw a question at you which is out of syllabus, you need to probably think that it's, oh, maybe this is out of syllabus, but not be a deterrent and still try solving it, right? The idea here is to just know what your expectations should be and set that expectation straight as to the exam paper that's going to come. CET is known to be quite quiet. Well, I don't want to say anything bad, but they do tend to jumble up the papers and how the pattern works sometimes. From time to time, they keep doing that, and that's a different challenge, right? That's a new thing that you need to fight with and focus on. But that's what it is. I would suggest be ready for it the next time. So next time it happens, you're not surprised by it, and you just go full force and try to attack it rather than thinking what should I do now, what happens now. Every year it keeps changing, so don't think about it too much, but at least on an overall scale, you need to know what the syllabus is and what is asked, what is happening. And plus, you need to have an order of completion ready. Again, this is something that'll come with experience, but you need to figure out what your order of completion would be based on your strengths and weaknesses. As I mentioned, if your verbal is weak, you need to start doing verbal more. You need to start talking in English. You need to start using better grammar. You need to start figuring out why you are going wrong, or start reading more books. If you want book suggestions, you can always ask us in the comments. We'll be happy to guide on certain books that we've read. But that's how it starts, right? That's how you need to kind of start building onto it. But in the start, at least you need to know what your game plan should be at that point of time, right? The fourth thing would be a more in-depth analysis of the plan. This is the fourth step in the overall scheme of things. And you would be thinking of whether you want to complete the syllabus first, or you want to focus on probably just taking a few mocks first and testing the waters out first. You need to figure that out. You need to figure out how long it would be taking to finish the syllabus based on what speed you are doing it at. It would also be based on whether you've taken other classes or not, whether you're self-studying or whether you are taking courses like ours or IMS or any other course for that matter, and how their syllabus works out and how their timing works out with yours. You need to have that game plan ready, because the test is the exam date is not going to change. If you're taking exams like GRE and GMAT, you can set the exam date yourself. So I would still say make an estimate based on past interviews, past things that you've read. Make a very fair estimate and make sure it is something lesser than what you think you can achieve it in, because that's the best way to make a drive forward, right? Don't set extremely unrealistic expectations, but I do suggest keeping a little unrealistic, being a little unrealistic, so that you are driven to success and you're driven with hunger. But don't let this demotivate you in case it doesn't happen. So it's a very fine sword between the two things. So keep that one thing in mind. But when it comes to the second point under this, I would say it's about how many mocks you're planning. I personally have taken 63 mocks for CET. I think the rest of the top percentile had taken around 20 to 30, with Shreekanth being an outlier who had taken around, I think, 100 plus mocks. In our toppers last year, from the top percentile, I think there was Aditya Prabhu who had taken more than 100 mocks. There was someone who had taken 13 mocks. So, it keeps changing from time to time. It depends on the person. But the magic number for this would be around 30 to 40 mocks. I think you should be taking that much. On average, you should be taking that much. You can always vary it based on what your confidence is, or how to vary your plan or your timeline of things. But the general estimate should be such. And the final point, I think this is the most important point. It's something that everyone misses out on, is motivation. Where are you going to get your motivation from, and how are you going to keep it till the end of your preparation journey? When it comes to any exam, there are people who've done it before. There are people who've topped the exam, whose stories you might find similar, whose stories you might find inspiring. It could be me, it could be Harsh, it could be Aditya, it could be any one of us, it could be any of the other toppers you see online, it could be anybody. We are the top percentile. Make sure that you have as many resources as possible. So if you go to our YouTube channel, click on the playlist icon, you'll see topper interviews from CET 2020 and CET 2021. And soon you'll be having toppers from CET 2022 as well. So you will find the entire array of toppers of the CET exam, and we'll be trying to get people from CAT, ZAT, other exams as well. So if you want content like that, please tell us. We'll make sure we bring it to you. But please tell us you need this. We'll be more than happy to get it for you. But just make sure that again, I've already said the first tip, but the first tip over here is to watch topper interviews. I think there is no better place to get motivation than to hear about, or to see someone and see someone's life progress after the time they've taken the interview, and after they took CET, gave the interview, topped the exam, etc., and how they've reached their dream jobs or dream countries or whatever they want after that. There's nothing more inspiring than that, right? So you kind of want to keep going over time and keep building that. And the best way to do this is to have a list of places ready. But please keep watching topper interviews. I think when I was taking CET, I'd seen everybody's videos. I made sure that I've seen as many videos as I could, because I wanted to keep getting updated and get new information. If there's a new strategy out there, I just want to know about it. So I used to keep watching everything, right? But the second thing would be to talk to like-minded people and to gain mentorship from toppers. Talking to like-minded people helps a lot because if you know someone who's also taking CET, there are ways to discuss without harming each other with progress for both. So I think that's very important. And at the top percentile, what we try to do is we have a WhatsApp group where we encourage peer learning. And there are questions that are posted over there every day, and people try to solve each other's doubts. And there is a lot of learning that happens over there. In fact, over the last 2 years, I guarantee you this because when the toppers reached JBIMS, they already knew 10 people because they were with us in the top percentile and they were all together talking on the group. We had a second group for the toppers, and they were already talking before they got admission into JBIMS. So it was all the friendship that matters over there goes the 2 years. And at the top percentile, we are already friends. The six of us are very close friends. And in fact, the second generation of toppers also are very close and keeps going on further because that's how it goes ahead, right? That's how you keep building over time, and that's how your network builds. You never know where someone reaches after 5 years and how they're going to help you out. But that's the idea. You need to keep having that close knit of things that we have on WhatsApp right now. But based on capacity, we'll switch to other things if you prefer other things. But right now, it's up there. And mentoring is another thing that's really important. So we used to have one-on-one mentoring sessions with our students, and we used to coach them on how they should go about in their individual cases and how they should plan it out. We will be trying to do something similar, but please tell us if you want it so we can bring it faster and in a better way. So we'll be planning something out soon. And the third thing would be to keep making notes of these things. Like the idea is that if you find something that's inspiring, if you find a quote that's inspiring, or if you find an interview that's inspiring, please keep track of it. Please find out where it was and make sure you have track of it or have it in some place safe so you can always just go back to it when you're feeling demotivated. You go back, you watch it, and you're back on track, right? Additionally, when it comes to making notes, I would want you to make notes of the mistakes you make, of the mindset that I keep talking about, because I think the winner's mindset is very different. The champion's mindset, the mentality of a champion, the toughness that is required is very important, and that comes through time. We will be making a lot of videos on this as well because we want you to get a head start from now. I'm recording this in October, and there are minimum 4 to 5 months left for CET to happen. So even CAT's not happened right now. So this is very, very premature considering where CET is. But if you're someone who's watching this right now, take the head start, take this as a hint that it's early and you can do it before everyone else. So start making notes right now, start doing all these things that I've said, and just keep at it. There's no reason why you can't stop, and no reason why you can't reach the places that we have and even do better than us, because we definitely think this entire journey is worth it. And we hope you join us for the rest of the ride because it's going to be a great one. But I hope this video was helpful. Please stay tuned to our channel. There's a lot of content coming your way. We're going to try to post as regularly as possible, so stay tuned to our channel. We are very excited for this new phase of our life and of our YouTube channel, so please stay tuned to our channel. But yeah, if any requests, please do let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe, all the good stuff, like the video, subscribe. You know how to do all that. I don't need a tutorial on that, but yeah, I'll just end the video here. Hopefully it was useful for you. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.